Hey. Welcome to Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm a little shaggy. I told myself I was going to try growing out my beard and everything. I know I'm about to do, a detailed trimming session and stuff, but I wanted it to grow out. So it's just a craziness. I know. How you guys doing? We're here to talk about anomalies. Anomaly, what is that? You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure most of you guys know what it is. But it's the things that kind of separates itself from the norm, okay? And just things that are just rare, not a ongoing occurrence, or how can I say, a systematic, just the way it is. It's very not normal. It's not a normal pattern. It's not a normal outcome. It's just out of the norm, and it separates itself. And we'll go deeper into it. But what I wanna do is come in here, and I had to do a new intro and stuff because I just wanted to kind of update the couple things to just kind of bring us up to date and stuff. So, how you guys doing, man? Individual Perspective Podcast. We are here. We're here. I'm going to try my best to stay loyal and consistent, but I try my best. If you look at all my shorts, I'm kind of hitting it as hard as much as I can to try to give you guys a rhythm of what I'm doing and everything like that. But I want to get my subs up and everything like that. So please like, subscribe. And even if you subscribe, even if it's dislike, please or do something, interact with us. Please hit the comments up too, okay? I'll say hello in the chat. Come on in. Talk to us. Talk to me. I want to build a panel too, so if you're not scared of the cameras and going through debates of the different topics of politics and social dynamics and just the way of life and everything and humanity and just the evolution of what we're going through. If you're not scared of just coming in, please, in the lower in the description area, you'll see the email, individualperspectivepodcast@gmail.com. Send me a little description of yourself. I'll say what your name is and your email. And that way I know what to put on the banner and everything. I'll send you a link, okay? We're gonna get it wild. It's gonna be wild. We on our way to our 250 birthday of America, and we're gonna I think we're gonna do like a 24-hour actual podcast. We're gonna do a couple of them leading up to that day, but it's gonna be aggressive. We're gonna be traveling, bringing the whole system and everything like that. But I've been listening to a lot of topics that's very on the surface, that's vitally important to who we are as people of America, evolution of individuality and constitutional rights, and understanding the dynamics of human evolution. Because a lot of people, they get kind of like narrow-minded about, like, even as a black man, Black Americans are narrow-minded about slavery. And yes, if you're a person of lack of intelligence and lack of education and a lack of ability to learn, then it'll stick out like a sore thumb because you think something special about you. But the truth of the matter is the evolution of humanity, the evolution of Homo sapiens, you'll find out that is kill or be killed, wolves and sheep. Peasants and the dominant royalty, and I don't like it. It's just the way it is. If you believe in God made it this way. You know what I mean? This is something for some specific reason The hierarchy structure is very, very vital and consistent in the process of creation. You know what I mean? I'm not saying settle for it. The greatest thing about America is America was built to break the rules. It was built to break the the mundaneness of repetition of things. That's the crazy part about America is it was separating itself from China and from the King Dynasty, or what is his, I forgot his name. Can't remember right now, but how the China overlord was in China back in, we're talking about the early teens and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh my God, let me look this up. Oh man, oh, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. But even just like even the Roman, the London, England, and everything, the King of England, Henry VIII, and all that stuff like that. And same thing in Africa, the African tribes, they had like kings and queens and stuff, or kings that pretty much overruled the tribe and everything like that. And that's one of the major reasons why a lot of black like African slaves got sold into the slave trade, because it was dominant tribes and their kings, and like seeing a economic or a positional growth in trade, that they trade their enemies in different tribes and capture and lower value to the colonialists, the European colonialists and stuff like that. I know it sounds crazy. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to make this a black thing, because I'm very, very broad spectrum. You get what I'm saying? But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because black people, we can get so narrow-minded to think that American slavery is something that's just so like singular. It's an anomaly, and it's not. It is not an anomaly. It is a process of evolution. It's a process of for some reason, something that went through the process of human and Homo sapien evolution. The good part about it is even I'm grateful that my ancestors and the people that came before me fought for equilibrium, fought for some kind of balance to or value that they seen as Black Americans or slaved Americans, that they decided like, no, we're so valuable that we deserve what you got. You know, we deserve the respect you give to yourself. We deserve that. The good part about it in the Constitution, was how it was written up. Individuals are equal under the eyes of God, because laws and rights are given to us by God. You get what I'm saying? And if you don't believe in God, and it means that when you wake up and you're in existence, your rights is just as much, exactly the same as the next person that was awake before you. So you automatically get grandfathered into your rights, your freedom. That's what individuality means. Now, in order to hypothetically and intellectually and academically make people freedoms and their rights equal, we are stepping away from individuality, and we're going to some systematic collective understanding and collective agreement of what a person's freedom should be and what their actual rights should be. And by doing that, you superimpose that idea onto someone else's life. And that's a problem. You get what I'm saying? So meaning that like kill or be killed. That's a right of every human being, of every Homo sapien. You get what I'm saying? So in that thought process, it naturally works. It naturally is. So that's how you know it's your right. It's your freedom. It's your individual law to you, to be placed upon you, and it's killed or be killed. Okay, so the evolution of Homo sapiens, we kind of go to respect me, I respect you. You get what I'm saying? That's how it's naturally. Every time you walk around, if you kind of go somewhere and you're interacting with total strangers that you don't know, that you probably don't even care about, but at the same time, you naturally go into respect me and I respect you. If you don't say nothing to me, I won't say nothing to you. Yeah, I won't be rude to you. You won't be rude to me. I won't be rude to, if you don't be rude to me, I won't be rude to you. That's natural. Okay. So the Constitution and a lot of the foundation of American structure is what's natural. What's your natural rights? You get what I'm saying? So, and then it just, for academic purpose and evolutional purpose of communication, it is put into documents and constitutional rights and amendments and stuff like that, So, yes, with the debate about 3/4 of a person, that's always debated and everything, to why that was infringed into the Constitution, and overall it has no place to a Homo sapien and a human, because a human is just as rife to laws and rights as a black human is right to the laws of and rights to the individuality as a white man. An Asian man is just as rights to the individuality, the rights of an American citizen. Remember that, as a black man. So on and so on and so on. And the reason why I want to say this and I want to talk about this is because I don't think you could rewrite our world right now. It is what it is. You get what I'm saying? It is what it is. So so the best way I could kind of how can I say, the best way that I can try to make everybody understand how they need to conduct themselves in their life is to understand that anomalies are anomalies, meaning that something special is something special, something different is something different, something of an irregular pattern is something of irregular pattern. And let me explain to you. We watch TV, we watch movies in America, okay? We watch sports, we watch TV, video games, all this stuff, cartoons, all this stuff. It's only about 100,000 people that really are in the process of repetitiously doing media, okay? And even if you throw in all the podcasters and all the news anchors, and well, I guess they go automatically go into media anyway, but even internet artists and stuff, just very minute people that does this stuff. You're probably, if you're lucky, you might get 10 million people that are really doing this in America. There's 350 million people in America, and if I tell you the realistic content creators are about 10 million. That's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, movie stars, news anchors, newspaper reporters, columnists, movie stars, all that stuff. You get what I'm saying? About 10 million people. If you go do your research, they'll say it's about 100,000 people that are really doing this stuff. But I'm gonna go crazy and I'm gonna just overinflate it, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna just overinflate it, and I'm gonna say 10 million people in America that are kind of really giving it to content creating, okay, and then where it's consistent enough to say that it's not a fluke, or it's not like a random, extreme random thing, like it's one out of 365 days, 10 out of 365 days, or something like that. It's people that's kind of doing it hundreds and thousands of times in 365 days, okay? Anomalies are something that's such a mindset that it's just, it is what it is. But the normal pattern, the majority of the population don't have that mindset, doesn't have that pattern. They don't really move like that. And I always say I don't really communicate with the anomalies. I don't really like having anomaly conversations because they're irrelevant to the conversations that need to be had with the majority. The majority is the focus. You get what I'm saying? But a lot of social influencers, a lot of podcasters, they kind of made it where everybody overinflates their value. And maybe their value is pretty high, but they overinflate the purpose of them. And they say, well, if I could kind of reach out to 100,000 men to change their life and change their behavior and change their way of process and doing things, then that's enough. You get what I'm saying? But that's a niche market for you. Like, how do you talk to people where no matter who comes across it, it's very clear, very logical, it's very what it is? You get what I'm saying? I always say a lot of people don't adopt a lot of social media and level up culture rhythms, their routines and their patterns and their how can I say their advice, because the relativeness is such a major disconnect. And relativeness is what's routine, what's like not even routine, it's just a normality pattern. It's a conscious, consistent pattern that it is what it is. And anomalies, they kind of live in something that is not normal. It's not a normal pattern. You get what I'm saying? A lot of people say like Jay-Z comes from the hood and stuff like that, so he came up the same way that other people came up. Not really. He had a few people around him. He had, I don't know if it's his mother, his father, a male mentor in the streets or something like that. And what was communicated made him kind of be repetitiously in a pattern to be above the norm, above the expectations of the majority of people around him. He decided that any means necessary, he's gonna win. He's gonna do whatever it takes to win, to get to his end results, whatever he kind of thought of as, if I get this accomplished, I know I hit my mark, and I'm gonna do. Then I could go do this. So whatever was going on, it was an anomaly. I always tell people that the reason I say the thing that Steve Jobs has in common with Jay-Z, and Steve Jobs and Jay-Z have in common with Tupac, and Jay-Z and Tupac and Steve Jobs have in common with Michael Jackson, or they have in common with a Tom Cruise or Al Pacino, or President Obama, or President Donald Trump. What they all have in common is they had people around them overinflating their mindset, like telling them how great they were, how much value they were, what their purpose is, what their mindset needs to be, what's the demand on their legacy, their value. And for some reason, we have come out, and the data's there. The data's in psychology, and everything is there. You find out that if you pay attention to the last 100 years, you'll find out that this high success that went into the majority population, and actually picked out these big grand amount of not only just a Roosevelt or Rockefeller or a big and powerful family, like person or value, or Henry Ford or something like that. It start to actually go into thousands of communities and grab thousands and hundreds of thousands of people and take them to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, $1 million a year, multiple million, tens of millions of dollars a year, billions of dollars a year. It became more of a probability, more of an option to have a lot of people become successful than a very rare astute anomaly type of people. So even in the grander scheme of all the hundreds of thousands of people that have become millionaires and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year economic growth period in the last 100 years, that's still an anomaly, because the majority of the population of America make from $25,000 to $56,000 a year, literally. So when you understand that 70 to 80% of American population that are in working age and working ability make $25,000 to $56,000 a year, that's majority. Then you understand that, like, a lot of people say, like, oh man, like, you crazy? Everybody I know, they make money. They buying $50,000 trucks. They buying $80,000 cars and all that stuff like that. Well, guess what? You're in an anomaly situation, because most people are not like that. You get what I'm saying? So once you understand that, then you can understand who are the anomalies. You get what I'm saying? And what's the normality? And I know this is a horrible conversation, but I say the cure for the normal situation is to understand where everybody is, where yourself is, where the circumstances of your life is. But once you understand that, then you can start probably doing certain things that you want to push to whatever you feel is good for you. Some people, what's normal is good. It's better than what they came from. You get what I'm saying? No problem with that. I'm just saying, in order to understand the battlefield of life, you got to understand the things you don't really want to pay attention to. You don't really want to acknowledge. You don't want to make it part of your everyday like understanding. And in the things that you're kind of just okay with, or you're just kind of come to terms with. You get what I'm saying? And the reason why I say all this and stuff, I don't want to get lost in train in my thoughts, is because, like I said, I don't like having conversations about anomalies. I like having conversations that the average person, not average, but also the person that's in the pattern, in the routine. You know, I think I seen this conversation where a lot of I don't know if it's the Wall Street Journal, or maybe I gotta look it up as we talk. They were talking about women are buying more homes than men these days and stuff, and the lack of men stepping up being men, you know what I mean, and dominating. And I kind of said, you know what? I want to talk about that, because the scary part is it's an anomaly conversation, an anomaly interaction that you will have with your father. Not me, I'm just saying majority men that were birthed and raised in the last 30 to 40 years. It is a very rare situation where the code of manhood is conversated or put into effect in action majority of a man's life. Most of the reason why a lot of men, we subverted ourselves. It's no way that a man would be able to work in the workforce with a woman unless he subdued his manhood. He has to kind of neuter himself. You get what I'm saying? It ain't about sex or anything about that. It's about dominance. You get what I'm saying? The naturality of a man, the impulse of a man is dominance. Understanding, like walking into a room, taking up space in the tone of the voice. And now you're kind of sharing this with women, and so men wouldn't be every day, every minute, every interaction being barbaric or inconsiderate or something like that. We have to kind of neuter ourselves. We kind of almost have to ingest an ideology of feminism in order to fake like you want to be in an economic barter, like, or economic evaluation with a woman. You know, it's literally like a man goes for a job and a woman goes for a job. A man comes into the job and a woman comes into the interview of the job. On impulse, a man would think, this is crazy. What the hell am I like competing for this job with this woman? He'll get up and he'll leave. You get what I'm saying? That's on impulse how a man is supposed to react to competing for economic and bringing the bacon home with a woman. It's very crazy. But that's all I know. That's all 2 to 3 to 4 generations know about economics. We work in the workforce with women, and it may be jobs that we don't get because a woman got it first, or is evaluated that this job criteria is for women or something like that. So when you understand that, and you hear the conversation about women have purchasing more houses than men are, and men are lacking stepping into their manhood and their men roles. If I can even say anything about what I've learned going through my journey, I would say it was a poison pill that the baby boomers and Generation X conditioned themselves into, like, not understanding that in order to build a family, in order to build relationships with an opposite sex, you're gonna have to know what's the vital part of the relationship in the interaction. And the vital part of the interaction is to understand subversion or submissive or the hierarchy. And if there's no way you want to inject that ideology or that social structure or physical structure or primal structure into your interaction, then you gotta understand the outcomes that you get may be just, it's just a cause and effect of it, and it's probably the best for whatever outcome that you're trying to, how can I say, you're trying to keep sustained. You get what I'm saying? I know that this conversation I'm having is very disrespectful to women and stuff like that, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to let people understand that no matter how much men come on podcasts and social media influencers talk about this, or women talk about what they're talking about, and they, I want a strong man, I want a dominant man, to even ask for a strong man or a dominant man, that's out of femininity. That's out of femininity. To demand how a man should conduct himself around a woman and make it a standard that you're looking for is out of Homo sapien evolution. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying you cannot put this genie back in the bottle. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube with this situation. Ever. Ever. It is a situation that, and I'm telling you from what I know, and trust me, I would not come on here saying something that I don't know that's going to be true for 20, 30 years from now. The truth of the matter is, there's no joining of men and women. You get what I'm saying? There's, what is your purpose and what do I need from you? And do you give me that, and are you giving me that value and need? Otherwise, there's no value. There's no purpose. And that interaction is going on, I'm seeing, like, even, like, I'm from Generation X, so for me, it's like, the typical manosphere or red pill conversation is all true. It's all true. And women, they know it. And to act like it's not, meaning you still want to have this issue, or you still want to talk about this, and lie to yourself, or you're having conversations that are not even truthful. The truth of the matter is that it is a valuation. What's the value of me having you around? What's the value of me being with you? What's the value of you existing anywhere in my space, in my time, in my life? That's how it is. And men, believe it or not, men are just now, I'll say in the last year or two, starting to actually make their brain say, that's how they need to perceive the opposite sex. You know what I'm saying? Men just it took us a long time. We would never, and I say we because I'm saying men, but not me. See, me, I'm an anomaly. I'm around women that kind of understand manhood, and they have a value for it, even if they give up their life to it. Even if they give up their evolution to it, they understand it and they have a value for it. So I'm an anomaly, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not really in a situation that most men go through. So I'm not talking about this for myself. I'm more talking about this to the majority. I told you I don't like having an anomaly conversation. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to have an anomaly conversation because it's not the norm. And you can't help the norm with a conversation that is very hard for them to have relevance or relation to, because it's not even in the vicinity of something that's connecting the dots. So I say this because you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't rewrite this. You can't do anything about this. I'm telling y'all, you can't. And I'm starting to see that it's creeping into like the teenagers. You know? So that's about to get corrupt. You know what I mean? So high profiles. Because we're about 3 to 4 years where actually the injection of the philosophical of the anti-man, the anti-sex, the anti, male and female correspondence, and the anti-masculinity, that start to creep in certain structural ways in order for it to be easily digestible to the teenagers and the young kids. So when you understand that, you understand like how wild it is for like the people that are actually supposed to be giving advice right now. How do you take advice from, and I've done this so much. I listen to the baby boomers. I listen to my age group, Generation X, and I see what's going on in the mindset of some really great millennials and stuff like that. But how do you take advice from each other when some people, their advice are anomalies? They won't even allow themselves to understand that a success is not always comes from money being passed down to you, or you got a great education. Sometimes success is, in majority time when you see the anomaly people have success, they got it from encouragement and mindset, repetition, communication. That's what they got it from. I'm talking about the majority. Yes, some successful and rich people, and even just successful people that make $100,000 to multiple $100,000 a year, a successful life. You get what I'm saying? I always say your job in life, in order, if you're chasing the economic like tail of life, is to get yourself to $300 to $600 a day. In your household, if you could do that, you most likely will kind of be able to economically and chess move play life. Okay? So do what you got to do to get to that. You know what I mean? We're talking about $78,000 to $156,000 a year is where you need to. You gotta try your best to get to that. We all may never do it, but we have to extremely on a day-to-day basis fight for 78 to $156,000 a year. That's with all the weird economic inflation, economic fluctuations of goods, services, and life and housing and all that stuff. If you could play within that range, 78,000 to 156,000 life, you can dominate and really have a good life in America. Anything above that, shit, you got extra. You got extra, okay? So, I know. I took this first 40 minutes and I'm gonna finish it up. But I was gonna go to my intro, but you know what? I'm not gonna go to the intro. I'm just gonna have this conversation with you guys. The Anomalies would not tell you this, and maybe they're going so fast in their life and they're doing so much in their life and they're just who they are in their life that they just won't give any simplistic thought process to how they got to what they got to. But most of the time it's a repetitious mindset in why they do the things they do. A lot of people say like, "Oh, I wasn't rich. I didn't grow up rich, but your daddy worked for the CIA, and even if you didn't have a lot of money, that's an extreme anomaly." You get what I'm saying? That is out of the norm. So when he talks to you, if he communicates something to you, even if he tells you to take out the trash, it's in a psychological way that shows you certain warrior tactics, mindset tactics that can be used in certain different ways and different scenarios that you might interact with in life. People don't understand that. That's just as good as being raised with money. Millions of dollars. You get what I'm saying? The things that Donald Trump's kids have in common with Andrew Tate is they had a foundation of great thinkers and communicators. How Donald Trump's father communicated to Donald Trump in just a normality, just his personality, gave Donald Trump his personality and his accomplishments. The same thing that gave Andrew Tate his thought process that evolved to excellence of athletic and physicality and to business that he did is how his father communicated to him, even if it was about playing chess. Even if it was about playing cards, even if it was about taking out the trash, even if it was about how he conduct himself around the house. Those two mindsets are the same exact from how Jeff Bezos got to where he's at. Steve Jobs got to where he was. Michael Jackson got to where he was. Chris Nolan got to where he was. And Al Pacino got to where he was. You get what I'm saying? Or he is, you know? Daniel Radcliffe got to where he was. Or where he is. You get what I'm saying? Taylor Swift got to where she is. Beyonce got to where she is. Even Sexy Red got to where she is. It's all that mindset in the culture of whoever they was around gave them the success bug and the success routine and the success mindset and the success repetition complex. And they won't tell you that. They won't tell you that. That's the break. So the Anomalies are product of something so simple that the majority has the ability to be anomalies. You get what I'm saying? in the full totality of the world, meaning that it's more of a probability that Americans become majority 100,000 income drivers in the anomalies, the intellectually, financially, ability, consistent motivation, repetitious in behavior, is more probable that in success that the majority of the 350 million people in America become successful. That means $78,000 to $100,000, $156,000 a year and up. It's more of a probability that Americans can get to there than all the other countries in the world. All of them. You get what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself, if the ability and the probability, meaning that it's most likely can happen, if the most probability of Americans being very neutral in success, that's a probable option for Americans than it is for any other country in the world. Why is it an anomaly of success in America? Why is the majority of Americans making $25,000 to $56,000 a year instead of $78,000 to $156,000 a year? Why? Because noise, and then additional, the actual $25,000 to $56,000 a year, majority people fight each other on idealism, on laws, on political persuasions, and they keep themselves down because something that could easily work to put you in the 78,000 to 156,000, that 80% of the country makes that amount of money. What keeps us from being in that situation, what keeps you from being in that situation, what keeps the majority of Americans from being in that situation is that you have a $25,000 a year's employee actually or economically calling Donald Trump stupid. Oh, he's so dumb. He's so stupid. Oh man, look how he's talking. Look, he's so dumb. And it's like, you make $25,000 a year in a country that's very likely improbable for you to make $78,000 a year. This guy had $14 billion, lost it, and gained it back before he died. When Donald Trump passes, he would have lost everything and gained it back. Only way he could gain it back is he had to learn and understand the game and understand what is trying to destroy him and what kind of power do he have, what kind of actual command do he have when it comes to being in opposition to something or someone or a system that wants him to fail. Most Americans, they kind of listen to people because they wear a suit, because they on TV, because they are a movie star, because they are a musician. They give them so much value over anything that could come out of their head, that they give them value as like President Obama is a highly educated and intellectual guy. I think he got good philosophy, but we don't know what it is. We seen nuggets of little specks of President Obama's philosophy. All the stuff that we see him talk about on TV, all the stuff that we see him talk about on speeches and interviews, in his book, that stuff is to manipulate, to have control over the perception of people, what they perceive him as. He got really cool and great philosophies, but we'll never hear it unless you're his friend. unless you're a family member, unless you're in close proximity to him on a very normal situation, you'll hear him say some cool shit, some smart stuff, some very, very like tools. You don't become President Obama not understanding how to play the game. I'm talking about how to play the dope game all the way to shooting missiles. The reason why we don't know a lot about what, and people can't relate to what I'm saying is because you are right with how he limits his education or his intellectual or his philosophies to you. And you just like, whatever you can get, you get it. But what if what he's given is kind of holding you back? And now you find out 15 years later when you're dealing with the truth. Because I understand, I don't want anybody to like Donald Trump. I don't want you to have to vote for President Donald Trump. I don't want you to support him. I'm just saying, the messiness that you don't like about the time of the era of Trump is the truth. It's what it is. It's what it is. It's what it's been. I always tell people, the things that you think that are not going on in our country for the last 100 years, the nasty, wild, scary, like monstrous stuff, that's what the CIA does. We actually train them and make them go do that stuff. You get what I'm saying? And it's almost like they got almost like a don't ask, don't tell to what they're actually doing. The FBI, the reason why I'm so hard on the FBI is because the FBI is technically the American People's Secret Service. They're supposed to be the ones to really watch your movements and make sure that no one is infringing on your ability to be you and do you. So if somebody else infringes on that, if a judge, a local police department, a city prosecutor, a governor, a mayor, a influencer, or anyone, if someone infringes on your individual rights and ability, you're supposed to be able to take it, or the FBI is technically supposed to observe it happening and come in to investigate. And their whole purpose is to give sovereignty to an individual person. Not people, not a group of people, not a race. The individual person. They're supposed to back them up. And that we don't have that for the last 30, 40 years. They've been kind of doing a little CIA stuff, a little Secret Service stuff. They've been doing a little totalitarian dictator type of stuff. You get what I'm saying? Black people actually gave the FBI the right to walk up to you, start asking you questions, and if you lie to them or protect your Fifth and Sixth Amendment right, they can put you in jail for 5 years. They actually gave them that law, that ability. Black city council members, congressmen, black senators gave the right to FBI to come up to you, ask you questions that only you know, that only, the reason why they're asking because they don't have information to know it. But if they do have information to know it, and if they can find it to be true or that you lied, they can actually put you in jail for 5 years because you can't lie to an FBI agent. You can't give mistruths to an FBI agent. That's your Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendment right to protect yourself. If I did something, it's your job to prove it. Go get it. The reason why I say this stuff, and trust me, I'm a filmmaker. I love my character's been FBI agents because I love the true foundation of FBI and what they really do. You know what I mean? Or supposed to do. The thought process and ideology of what they do. Excuse me for coughing. Dry throat. I'm sorry. So, I'm gonna wrap this up. I know. It's like no images, no videos, and all. We're gonna come back and we're gonna do that. But I wanted to kind of have a conversation with you guys about what it is to be an American citizen, what it is to be a person that has all your rights, but you don't know how to use it, and we don't even try to better arm each other about how to use it, or how our freedoms are being given to us, and how free are we. We kind of miss that because we don't have the true blunt conversation about what it is. So I just want you guys to know that one of the things about Donald Trump is it's 250 years of this country, and the first time you're really able to look at your government and see what it does and what it do is with Donald Trump. He talks to you guys about everything. He shares everything. He got enough people hating him that they expose and they put in conversation everything that's going on with the government, so you kind of know. Okay? I'm going to end it by weaving back to men being outdone by women in economic growth, purchasing house, jobs, and stuff like that. The reason why it's like that is because men had to subvert themselves. You cannot be on the battlefield of life for human beings and Homo sapiens and evolved citizens of America is money. It's getting a job and economic growth and being able to bring home the bacon, the financial security of your house and stuff, and of your being, of your ability. That's the battlefield of life, and you're on the battlefield with weaker people than you, with people that you could completely demolish easily, effortlessly, and you have to act like there's some relativeness there. There's some equilibrium there. There's some point of value that's similar, and there's not. So men and society has neutered men. That's why the highest economic situation is administration, managing money, managing business, managing like the war chest, the actual economic value. That's what administrators do. That's what clerks do. That's what actual jobs like that. It's been like this for about 40, 50 years. We just didn't know it. We just didn't notice it. We didn't know how to articulate it until the pandemic and men start to actually kind of come out with what's internally inside their psychosis, and they start to communicate it. That's only 5 years old that we actually been out here talking about it. You get what I'm saying? That's 5 years old. The narrative for the last 40 years, 40 to 50 years has been, how did women feel about the evolution of the 2,000 to 3,000 years of evolution of life and men dominating? Then we gave 40 to 70 years to women to articulate how they felt about it, and to start to try to find a way to make it a little bit fairer, or just something that's out of the norms of psychosis and behavior and primal instincts. So that we successfully was able to make men turn off their primal being and go into some theory and some ideological experiment and be what men are in the last 20, 30 years. This is not because men aren't great. All men are great. It's most men has the Alexander syndrome. They have the ability to conquer and achieve vast amount. I don't care if you walking by a guy, you call him a trash, you call him dusty, you call him loser, whatever you want to call him. That man has the ability to conquer the psychosis, manipulation, and the actual poison pill that we have put in men for the last 30 to 40 years have successfully made men forget who they are and what their abilities are. So, to wrap this up, I don't want to go too far over an hour. I could, trust me, I could. But to wrap this up, 20% of, I'll say 15 to 20% of our population in America. Let's just stick with America, because nobody makes more money in this world than Americans. Nobody has the more ability to make money in this world but Americans. Nobody has the better English understanding, even if we speak Ebonic and our grammar is not so great and everything like that. We are still over the average of the full society on Earth. So when you understand that, Anomalies, all they did was, they don't, most of them don't even know it either. All they did was be the outcome of great mindset. Now, the person in their lives, mother, father, grandparent, educator, mentor, even if it's on the street, gang dope lord, the gang captain and the head of the gang, whatever, they had a certain mindset that put them on a trajectory because they ingested it. They actually liked it. They actually grabbed onto it. They actually wanted to mimic it. They actually wanted to follow it. And it made them who they are to their outcome of success. The crazy part about, I know this sounds wild, but I'm not telling people to be gang members or drug lords and all that stuff, because you can do anything you want in your life the same way. The same success a drug lord has, the same success a general manager of a McDonald's has. Same success, same economic value, economic outcome they have. They have the same one. You get what I'm saying? So it's all deciding on what road you take and what you're doing. But I'm talking to the majority. I want the majority to understand these people are not special. You get what I'm saying? They're anomalies because they did one thing that you have the option of doing. And that is repetitiously doing what's best for you. What's best for you. You got to become an egomaniac about yourself. The people around you, your family, your kids, your friends, they reap the benefit off you doing this. But it is dark. It is dark to become totally isolated to your outcome, what you want for yourself, and be completely bullheaded about it and ferocious about it. You get what I'm saying? Majority people gonna have to achieve and become great and become successful that way. Some people they could kind of have growth and they don't have to become a monster, and they still get the amount of success that they can help everybody too. But that's a rarity. That's rarity. That's an anomaly, and you cannot structure what the outcome for most people to accomplish what that person accomplished. You have to give a formula that will work for most people. And what will work for most people is you have to isolate your mindset to what you want. and what it takes to get that accomplished. And you cannot even be like, oh my God, I don't want to borrow money from people. Oh, I don't want to make a person do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to like take from some like from my community, or I don't want to like. That's the sad part about this, y'all. This is how it is. It's some dark things you're gonna have to overlook that may not be pretty in order for you to get over the hump into success. And I'm not talking about everybody being successful. I'm just saying, if you want to know the difference between people, it's mindset. I'm not lying to you guys. It's mindset. Some people don't need great mindset because they come from wealth and power. That is just, even the mindset is just repetitious as they're born into it. They hear it when they were 5 years old and they was 4, and when they start to actually communicate it themselves in their the 8th grade, in teenage, in high school, it was all, they did it for so many years that they don't know no difference. It's just the way it is. So they're not really learning it. But people that gotta learn mindset, they go to college and they adapt a mindset, they adapt a behavior, they adapt a way of moving around in their lives and stuff. That stuff comes from an anomaly situation of you being able to go to college. You've been able to connect with a mindset that ingested into you, that communicated it to you. You know what I'm saying? That's I know. I'm going to wrap this up. That's what I wanted to tell you guys. Anomalies are anomalies. They are not to be worshipped. They're not to be valued. Because every day you value it, you become less of yourself. You get to the less of where you want to go by following and adopting an anomalies mindset. The mindset you need to adopt is something that you know to be true. You know to be true. And that's behavior. That's why is those behaviors that way. And you tell yourself and you communicate to yourself and you allow yourself to understand and comprehend it. 5th grade education is comprehension. So it don't take a lot for you to understand what it is. And if you do that, and train yourself to take on a psychological behavior that works, that you know to work. You are your answers. You are your answers. You are your solution. That's the purpose. And you become the anomaly. Okay? My name is Daris D. McKinney. This is Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host. And yes, 2026 is here, and it's the 250th birthday of America, and we're gonna celebrate it. But what I wanted to do is just come in here and say hi to you guys and give you a little quick podcast and let you understand we gotta fight for our individuality, not a collective. Fight for people, individual greatness, individual rights, individual freedom. That's how you guarantee yours. Don't allow the voices of the powerful, the voices of the money, the voices of the stardom, the voices of the glitz and glam. Don't allow for them to tell you what's best for us, what's best for the majority. What's best for the majority is the majority needs to understand, believe in you, value you. And once we understand that and we start to conversate that and we start to show, that's why you got so many TikTok successful people that would have never been successful without TikTok, would have never been successful without YouTube, would have never been successful without Instagram. The reason why a lot of people bubble to the top is because they're kind of doing something to themselves to give themselves a mindset that made them great. And was a mindset that makes you great is respect yourself. Respect yourself. Don't ever put yourself into the system, because that's not what you will want to do in your right mind for yourself. How you know what you would do for yourself is what you would do in your right mind for yourself. This is Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Daris D. McKinney. I could go forever. Trust me. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Check you out.